Yo, welcome back, Sean. How's it going,
Hey,
man?
hey, bro. Good to be back. Good to be back.
Did you play ball today?
I did. Today
Oh,
different. Today
yeah.
I washed up already, so I look more fresh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming back to join the show, man. I had some requests that people wanted you back to talk about more stuff relating to cards, NBA, and of course today's topic is about grading. So glad you could spare some time to talk with me today, and we want to cover basically about PSA. So for the benefit of the audience, is recently Sean did a live reveal of his PSA submission along with a Becker submission as well,
Yeah.
and he had some interesting results, and he just want to talk more about it. So Sean, on to you, man.
Yeah. So I did a group submission to PSA and Beckett separately. I mean, both coincidentally came at the same time, right? Um, and well, the submission was sent out last year, so it was before the announcement where PSA was gonna change their grading standards, kind of toughen things up, especially on the centering, right? And well, I kind of expected it to hit my sub, right? Our sub, but not in the way that that it turned out because just to put some statistics into it, I think I give a rough number, right? Out of every 20 cards, every 25 cards, three came back, four came back gem mint,
So
and
that's four out of 20. So you're talking
let's
about.
say let's give it like a 20% rate of a gem,
Okay. And
and
but just before we take a step back, right? So these cars are they ultra modern, or are they mixed with the
ultra modern.
90s
I mean,
ultra modern?
okay, they're mixed. I have to be fair. They are mixed, and maybe that scale kind of pulls it down a bit because, as we know, with vintage, card conditions are usually more condition sensitive, and uh, graders are a bit more careful with giving tens because the value increased drastically with tens.
Yep.
So I can understand why the gem rate was slightly lower with the older cards mixed in. But if I were to look at just the ultra modern didn't do too well as well. I think they were really tough on centering. Uh, Extremely tough. Not to the standards that we knew PSA would be. Personally, in my opinion, I always thought that PSA would be more lenient to centering compared to Beckett. Um, we
Okay.
have seen in the past that we have cards that like 70-30 in the front still get a PSA 10 depending on the condition. But I think that narrative is gonna change a lot in coming submissions. Um, and I think personally, this is I mean I've no evidence to say this, but it's just an opinion that I think PSA could be pop controlling. I think the
Really?
number of tens out there I mean, if you look at the pop report, tens. I mean, for ultra modern, don't talk about vintage. We just talk about ultra modern, where all the players are currently green graded. Wemby, Zion in 2020,
Yep.
Melo, right, 2021, Edwards, right. So
Yep.
if you look at the pop reports, I would say that gem mints actually uh, have a higher percentage of the pop reports than mints,
Okay.
which in my opinion, it shouldn't really be that way because well, you deem a card to be in good condition, right? So you're telling me that well, Panini's QC must be excellent then, because the majority of the cards are getting PSA 10. I mean, uh, but in recent months, I think PSA has been really controlling the pop reports. Like if you look to 2021, 2020, I remember back then when I subbed like maybe like 6 or 7 different Jamoran prisms, and I would come back 10. All would come back 10 regardless of centering. I mean, of course, they have minor print lines that they do like go sometimes, but with those dents and creases, they do drop down the grade. But yeah, I mean, overall, as a collector that has been grading for like 7 years, 8 years, I think PSA has really increased their strictness in grading.
Well, I mean, of course, the pop numbers. I mean, even coming back from 2018, Lucas time, and then
Yeah,
followed by
yeah,
Zion. Those talking about just base prisms, lah. Okay, just
yeah,
just let's talk about base prisms. Of
yeah,
course, those numbers were kind of crazy back then, lah. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
and even for me also, when I started, sending cards to PSA, it was during the Zion time. So the gem rates were like 75%,
Yeah,
so
I remember that.
kind of relate what you're talking about, and
Yeah,
then compare to today lah. But today I don't grade any ultra modern today because of course the ROI on ultra modern, if you don't get a PSA 10, is actually low, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's kind of like PSA 10 or bust. So for me, I don't make that kind of plays because I'm not saying I'm not confident with my own grading skills, but it's a very subjective thing, right? It
Very,
depends on
very
the grader.
subjective. Yeah,
And
it's
in your
very
case,
subjective.
right, and you're saying that maybe they pop control, I've heard this statement before, whereby it's PSA might be doing it, but it's hard to believe a company like that would want to pop control. If you talk about base cards, or even Prism Silvers, right? They have no incentive for them to pop control because even though if a card goes like pop 10,000, okay, or pop 1,000, whatever the number is, right? The values, of course, if being a high pop, will be much lower compared to lower pop. But either way, right? PSA is not actually uh, disincentivized to give better grades, or
Yeah,
are they
yeah, that's right.
incentivized to
That's
give
right.
lower grades, right? So
Actually, it's the other way around. They are incentivized to give better grades because the value increases and they can charge more with the upcharge. You have
well,
to get,
yes
yeah,
and no. Yes and no. Okay. Again, like I think we talked about this in our last video, right? Upcharge is because sometimes you never respect the level which
yeah,
which they ask you
yeah,
to put in
yeah,
through, right?
yeah,
So you kind of be asking for it, especially if you're trying to submit a card through the value, which is $500 or less,
yeah,
knowing that if you hit a PSA 10, it's going to be $1,000. So obviously,
yeah,
you should have submitted, on a higher tier, right, to avoid
yeah, yeah.
upcharge. So I wouldn't say that's the case lah. But one thing I do agree though, definitely their grading standards seems to be a bit tougher. Okay, so from what I heard, it could be mean two things. So firstly, of course, maybe the people in there are more experienced,
Yeah.
so they are more strict. Okay, with the grading compared to maybe a year or two ago, or actually it could be the other way around. So you get a lot of new amateur people who's not
Yeah, and then take it
exactly
by the book.
sure what they're doing.
Take it by the book.
So yeah, so it's better to give you the conservative
Yeah,
grade of a
correct.
9 as
Yeah,
opposed to a 10.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
Right.
you're right. It could be as well. Definitely could be. No
Yeah.
arguments there. Yeah,
But that being said, right? So people are still submitting to PSA like crazy.
definitely, definitely.
I personally think that there's not much large. It's no. Let me rephrase that. It's used to be one of the ways to create value in your cards, right? The best ways to create value, whereby you can 2x, or maybe I think 3x is gone already. So maybe 2x or 2.5x if you get a PSA 10.
Yeah.
But I think it's because of the increasing difficulty. I think a lot of people are starting to shy away from that strategy lah. So I don't know what you think.
I think it's still a mix. I mean, I had a conversation with a group of collectors today. I mean, coincidentally, it went out as well. A few of them were saying like, I mean, everyone has their own opinion, right? And it was quite interesting. Like, some of them saying, with this, you also could see a bump in the value of the PSA 9s, with the 10s being being more scarce, and 9s being, I mean, with PSA controlling, I mean, being tighter on grading, you might see a higher premium on the 9s, because maybe it becomes like, oh, the 9s are also harder to get. So the previous 9s that we have, that we always assume that is close to raw value, right?
Yep.
Well, yeah, my group of friends were saying, you never know, you might see a bump of 20-25% in PSA 9 values versus raw, which was interesting to me because I never thought about that. But yeah, I mean, it could happen as well, and people might actually start to appreciate more PSA 9s. Could be good for the industry as a whole. I mean, with other grading companies as well. I'm not too sure how it will affect, but it might also help uh, give an idea on. I don't know. Like personally, I've always, like in the previous video, I've been pro Beckett, right? So I mean, it today really opened my eyes. Like, I mean, not today, but my latest submission really opened my eyes to like the subgrades.
Okay.
They kind of matter. I mean, to me they matter because I'm just gonna put out that I have a card that came back a 6.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. It's off center. It was like what,
Okay.
65-35. I'll be fair. I wouldn't expect a 10 on that card.
Right.
Other than a centering and like a minor print line, I showed it to 5 people without really revealing the grade.
Mm-hmm.
All of them didn't expect a 6. The lowest they gave would be an 8.
Right. Okay. But let me ask you, right? So is this not your first PSA submission, right?
No, it's not. It's not my first PSA
Right.
submission.
And
But it's
but
the
have
first time
you
I felt this way.
first time what?
First time I felt this way.
Right. Okay.
First time I felt
So
this way. Yeah.
quite some time ago, I think a couple of months, maybe somewhere middle of last year, I posted a video on my channel. Okay. One of the most disastrous PSA submissions I ever had, ever. Okay.
Uh-huh.
It's like 20 cards. Okay. I think the best was the PSA 9. This was mainly 90s cards. Okay. These are not
Okay. Vintage. This
ultra
is
modern.
vintage
Okay.
card. Yeah.
Yeah, so generally you expect PSA 8, PSA 9 to be considered decent to relatively strong grades. Okay.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. PSA 9 will be
Yeah.
strong.
So if you get a 7, depending on the card, maybe it's still okay, but
Yeah.
6 and below is bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a submission that I think out of 20 cards, I may have had like 1 9, maybe like 3 8s, and everything else was 7 or below. Okay.
Wow.
Was a total train wreck, right?
Wow.
So yeah, so it led me to believe that either I was half asleep when I was looking through the cards before I sent it, okay,
Uh-huh.
or the PSA grader himself was having like a terrible
Tough
day.
day. Very tough day.
Yeah, okay, but I really doubt that for that submission alone, right? They were actually imposing any very strict standards. Okay, compared to all the others that I have submitted before, because I do have similar submissions like yours, that whereby I'll have maybe 2 or 3 tens, 5 to 7 nines, and then maybe an outlier 6 or outlier 7, maybe for
Yeah.
something that I potentially
Yeah.
missed and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of normal. It's kind of normal. The only thing that I recently see these days are people like what you're saying. The gem rates are down by a lot. Okay,
Yeah.
so people used to say, no, I can hit 60% PSA 10 for modern cards, right? Now it's like like your case are 20%, 25%. So people are saying it's losing money. Obviously, it's definitely because the ROI on PSA 9s are negative
Correct.
10%, right, or whatever it is. So definitely, I think people are shying away from that strategy, but I don't think it's something that internally PSA is changed dramatically. I don't think they change any policy. So maybe it also could be the card quality itself. The new card qualities like 2024 Prism. Have you seen any 2024 Prism cards yet?
I've not seen any in hand, but I've seen breaks. It wasn't part of them. Wasn't part of many.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I do. I do have a few 2024 Prism. I haven't really paid attention to it because mostly it's like base cards, and I didn't really like
Okay.
have any big
So
breaks or anything. Yeah.
2024. This is I'm speaking about WNBA, okay? Because I try to get a hold of a few 2024 WNBA Prism colors, the color parallels, right?
Is that the Caitlin card here or?
Jalen Clark, Cameron Brink, a few of these, right? But the condition, right, all the raw I've seen, right, it's either a ding in the back corner or a white in the back corner, okay, or a print line on the sides or the borders. It's like almost out of 20, right, 19 of them will be like this.
Wow.
Okay, so apparently it's like packed fresh and like stuff like that. So those the ones that get submitted. A lot of them you see on eBay now, they're going for raw. They're selling raw, okay, because it's still new. So maybe those have already passed the review test. Is probably sitting in PSA at the moment, okay.
Yeah.
But whatever there is that you see in the market right now, all the raw cards is all of these, grading rejects, I would call it, okay. So it'd be very interesting to when the PSA or the graded cards come back into the market, whether it is 9 or 10, okay, and what are the pricing for these compared to the raw? Because I think it's a well-known fact that the raw cards are very, very poor quality out of the pack. So into what you're saying earlier, right? The nines also may carry a significant premium over the raw for this case. But that's because of the quality of the raw itself out of the pack. Not so much on because PSA, has decided to
Not
be
because of the
tighter. So
grading standards, but more because
yeah,
of
yeah, I
the
think
condition
so.
you receive them in. Yeah.
Correct. So ultra model cars, like I say, I don't bust many packs like you because you do brakes, right? So I don't bust
Yeah,
any
yeah,
packs, but
yeah.
I do observe some of the car conditions, and definitely this is one of the things I actually observe for 2024 Prisms.
Okay, never really looked into it, but I might have to pay more attention to that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I've been staying away from 24 to be honest.
Yeah, it's strange though because 2023 the Wemby's year, right?
Yeah, yeah, maybe.
The cars are quite good though. The quality you see quite decent results for I'm just speaking about Prisms,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
and
of
even
course.
Dakar as well. I think the quality is quite good.
Okay.
So the grades that come out, you see now, you see nines and tens are quite normal. So I wouldn't say that PSA just decided to flip the switch and say, okay, anything 2024, let's just slam them and give them a tough time.
I get what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
it's not something that they purposely prioritize, but because the condition of the cars already came bad, so it's not like
Mm.
they're purposely giving it a bad grade. It's just that it is bad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing. But will this deter you from sending more cars to PSA going forward?
Nah, I mean, I always okay. Like you mentioned, like a lot of people look at it too. I mean, I personally, or people ask me, oh, should I grade a card? That's a question that I get all the time. And I always say the same thing. It's only two reasons to grade a card. You think it's in good condition, you want to flip it. There's a chance you get a RI, like you mentioned, 2x, 3x.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely try it, right?
Yep.
Or the other one is if it's a PC.
Right.
If you want to just slap it up, give it a grade, don't take it out of the slab anymore. You know the grade for the rest of your life. Yeah, I would grade it for personal collection. That's the main reason that majority of my cards are graded, and majority of the cards I do grade, especially with
Right.
um cards that like are condition sensitive. Prefer to have them even if it comes back at 9, even though it comes back at 8.5 or 8. I'm happy with that because it's going into PC, and I know I'm never gonna take it out of that slab. It's gonna be a card that I wouldn't have like a question like, I wonder what this gonna get. I know, okay, it's an 8. It's not a perfect card, but it's okay. Still happy with it. It's a PC card. So I think that's the main reason. Half of the time, that's why I would grade. It wouldn't deter me for cards that are personal collection. But in terms of like the first part where I was talking about like, I grade because I might get a 2x, 3x, right?
Right.
Yeah, I definitely will deter because you see like, um, just to put it into perspective, Stephen Castle, I'm sure you know him, right? The
Yep.
the
The Spurs
the
player.
Spurs,
Yeah.
right? He's
Yep.
playing really good right now.
Yep.
He's hyped. He's super hyped. You send his card into grade. Example, right?
Yeah.
3 months it comes back. 4 months it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And not right now. A little bit deterred because there's a higher chance he won't get a 10 compared to previously.
All right.
And when it comes back, you also have to deal with the risk that Stephen Castle's hype dies. So if you're looking to flip, you're gonna have like two risk factors rather than one. So
Well, okay.
yeah,
Okay. So I mean, okay, that's a very interesting example that you pull. So let me give you my take on this. Okay.
yeah,
So let's just talk specifically about Steven Castle.
yeah,
Okay. So he
yeah,
plays for the Spurs, right? So
yeah,
he's
yeah,
on Wemby's team. Okay.
yeah,
Wemby is out for the season.
yeah, correct.
Okay. De'Aaron Fox is injured.
Yeah,
Right. So
it's his team.
obviously the team is gonna go nowhere. Right.
Yeah, it's his team
Now,
right now. Yeah.
yeah. So he does he have a chance to win rookie? No, he doesn't have a chance to win. No,
He
does he
does.
he has a chance to win rookie of the year?
I think he's ahead right now.
Okay, because McCain is injured, right? So
McCain's injured. McCain's out for the season.
yeah, yeah. So
I think
there's
it was between the Lakers, Dalton. It was between
Dalton
Dalton
Connect,
and McCain, right? And Dalton, I think his hype died down a bit. Castle went out crazy over the All Star weekend, so
right?
Castle might have a chance to win Rookie of the Year, and the Spurs might have back-to-back Rookie of the Years. I saw that somewhere. It's quite crazy actually.
Right. Okay. So never mind. So let's stick with that first. Now, this this is a kind of player like I think you mentioned it correctly. By the time you send the card go for grading, whether is it through value or regular or whatever. Okay,
Yeah.
the card comes back, regardless of the grade, you have to deal with it whether or not is he still popular at the moment,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that's a tough spot to be, and that's the risk of ultra modern actually. Okay, and that's also a risk of not betting on the clear cut best player in the class.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. So Stephen Castle, obviously he's the top rookie right now in this class,
Yeah.
but he's not a clear cut best player. So
He's not. He's not the
yeah,
clear.
to me, right, personally, it's a card I wouldn't send for grading also. Okay, so a person who pulls a Stephen Castle raw out of the pack at the moment, okay, if his intention is to try and make as much money as possible, right, I would just try and sell it raw straight away.
Yeah, right away, right now, because it's hot, and you probably get it's more liquid right now than it is 3 months down the lane,
Yeah.
and playoff starts around that time, so
Right.
a lot of the focus is gonna go to wets.
Right.
So,
Definitely.
yeah, definitely. I agree. I strongly agree with you that if I have a Steven Castle right now, I'll probably flip it. Probably
Yeah,
go
because
grading.
I mean, my strategy is on this is talking about those new players, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so I don't like to. Okay, these guys. Let's say for example, you look at Amen Thompson. Okay,
Yeah.
so his cards are really bumping really up at the moment. Okay,
Up
so
like
up.
madness.
Okay, yeah. So if you ask me, now is not a good time to buy Amen Thompson, lah. Okay, now but if you have bought Amen Thompson previously, okay, when he was still low, okay,
Yeah.
now if you bought it back then and you try to sell it raw, I think maybe let's say I don't know his prices of rookie cards, but let's say it's $50, 50 USD, okay, and if you try to flip his rookie cards at 50 USD, you wouldn't make a lot of money. Okay,
Yeah,
maybe you
correct.
could sell it for 60 and then make a little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
but to really get the incremental value, you would send it for grading, right? So you pay extra $20. Maybe you get a PSA 9 or PSA 10. Okay, doesn't matter, and maybe it's worth 80 or 90.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe at that point in time to you is like, look, 80, 90. After minus grading fees and the cost of the card, I'm gonna make like $5. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not really worthwhile for me to sell.
Yeah.
But fast forward to today, if you're still holding on to that Amen Thompson PSA 9, which you had sent for grading,
Yeah,
it's worth hell a lot more. Okay?
Hell of a lot.
Hell a lot more.
Hell of a lot.
So as compared to, and then you compare it to a Wemby. Okay, if you buy a Wemby raw back then when he was hot, you're gonna pay a
Yeah.
high price. You send it for grading. Okay, the incremental price at that point in time will be great if you get a strong grade if you actually
Yeah.
sold. But if you didn't
Yeah.
sell and you held on to that card till today, the
Yeah.
price is actually lower
Yes.
than where it
Yeah,
was.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I always bet on the underdogs to send for grading because
Yeah.
the upside is so much greater even though if you get just an average grade like a PSA 9.
Yeah, I get where you come from. Because you
Yeah.
bought it low. Because you bought it low.
Correct. So like if let's say you're looking forward to next season, right? So like the example you used just now, the Stephen Castle, I wouldn't buy Stephen Castle to buy in grade, okay?
Yeah.
But I may consider buying McCain.
Yeah, because
Okay.
he's out.
Because it's
already
out, right? So I will take the
Rest
chance.
was-
I'll buy McCain now, it's cheap. I'll send it to PSA for grading right now. Okay. And likely you won't get upcharged because his cards are priced pretty low.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's true.
if it comes back next year, right? That's where you get the full value appreciation of his cards. As opposed to if the Stephen Castle came back from grading today, right? You'll be wondering, oh man, it's like when I send it for grading, Wemby is still playing. Now that the card is back, Wemby is out for the season. Right. So that's tough spot to be in.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and I would say your strategy makes sense. Because yeah, if you buy Stephen Castle now while it's up, well, now when Wemby's out, it's his team, right?
Yeah.
When Wemby comes back, when Fox comes back, whose team is it?
Well, I mean, we'll see next year. I mean, like for me, it's like I also put a hold on buying any Wemby cards because everybody is saying two different things. Buy Wemby now that's injured because his prices are dropping. I don't see his prices dropping, okay, but it's very dangerous that his prices are not dropping when he's injured. Okay,
Yeah,
so
correct.
that's quite a dangerous play as well. So you don't
correct.
know, right? So But next year is a different story. So of course, if you want to look at that, look at the off season and then see the next player. But definitely, this year's rookie class not touching at all. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Agreed there. Strongly agree.
For sure, man. For sure.
Strongly agree. Strongly agree with that I'm not touching this year's rookie class. It's
Right.
it's so based on. I mean, there's not really a clear like wow. There's not a wow factor. Even like you mentioned Jared McCain, right? Jared McCain is not going to like ooze potential when you look at him.
Yeah, let me share you a funny story.
He's a solid player. He's a really solid. He's. I mean, I don't know. I don't watch much of him, but the few tapes I watched of him, he reminded me of that year. Malcolm Brogdon won Rookie of the Year.
Yes.
Yeah, so it reminds me of that.
Right.
There's no clear favorite, and if we look back at that year's rookie class, was that 2015, right? Well, Malcolm Brogdon won
Yeah,
it. Was
I
it?
think so.
Yeah. So you had a lot of star players today that came from 2015, but in
Yep.
2015 you weren't looking at them. You were like, oh, Malcolm Brogdon's Rookie of the Year.
Well, he was playing well that year.
He was playing very well. He was playing solid, like super solid. So
Right.
so what I'm trying to say is like, just an opinion again. It reminds me of that rookie class. It just reminds me that if you are a guy that wants to gamble on talent, I think this class is the one that you probably get the most value because everybody's price is low.
Right.
I mean, I've seen the breaks and the Bulls are expensive, and I'm a Bulls fan, but I'm not very high on Matas.
Right.
I'm not really high on him, like super high, like I was on Luka or I was on like LaMelo. Or I was on like Jaren Jackson Jr. Like
Right.
I wasn't. It didn't give me that feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, you only want to bet on the sure picks.
Yeah.
If
Agree.
you know
Strongly
what I
agree.
mean.
Yeah,
Right?
strongly agree. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people today, the newer collectors, don't really like, haven't figured it out yet, because they buy into the hype easily. They're like, wow, he's playing amazing. Wow, I'm gonna get him. Then 2 months, 3 months down the line. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because one thing also the price point for the non-sure hits are actually much lower, right? So it's easier to get into those players.
Yeah,
and
correct.
self-hype yourself.
Yeah, correct. Convince yourself
and-
that they're gonna be the next Michael Jordan.
Yeah, let me share you a funny story. So I got this card here, this one here. You can see. This is Chuma
is that,
OKK.
Chuma
I don't know whether you
OKK?
heard of him before.
I know that picture.
Yes,
He was
okay.
so hyped.
So
He was so hyped in
yeah.
what was that? 2020, right? Zion year.
2020, that's right. 2020, no, it's 2019. He was Ja's year. Okay.
Sorry, it's Zion Ja
Yeah.
year.
So
2019.
what happened was Chuma is actually he plays for Auburn. Okay. He was down good player in college. He got injured.
Yeah.
He got a torn ACL. Drafted by Orlando, my favorite team. Okay.
Yeah.
And he was redshirted the first year. Means he didn't play the first year of his rookie season. So he played only the subsequent year. Okay. Very okay only. Not a great rookie season, but he showed some potential. Okay. Long arms, can shoot and things like that. Okay. So not bad. So his cards, this is his Prism Silver, which I bought raw, $50, 50 USD. Okay.
Oh damn.
50 USD, and I sent it for grading. I sent it for grading. Okay, but not one, but I have like all these. Okay.
Oh,
here.
okay.
Right. So he comes back and plays thing year 2 or year 3 after that, and he's totally sucked. Okay. And he's like, out of the league right now. Okay. So, but that tells a lesson that, people, the reason why I bought him is because, he was cheap, right? It's $50, it's worth
Affordable.
a gamble. You watch him play, looks okay,
Yeah.
and then it burn. It just burns. So I think a lot of new collectors, they fall into this little trap, I would say.
Everybody is looking for the next Giannis.
Yeah. So I mean, this guy is obviously not Giannis, but
I know. But
this is something whereby I buy a cheap card and then I send it for PSA grading.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, you had that with Bobo, Sako Demboya.
Oh.
Bobo, Sako Demboya. Who else? I can name so many. I can name so many
Did,
players
did you
that.
did you buy into any of those hype players back then? Like let's
No,
say a
I
Bobo or
was
whoever.
I was I was a bit more dumb. I bought into my Bulls. My first 3 years of collecting, I didn't really chase after players that I liked. I just thought like I supported the Bulls, so I'm just gonna buy Bulls players. So I ended up with Laurie Markkinen, Kobe
Okay.
White, Wendell Carter Jr. Yeah, so I mean,
No,
okay,
but you're a
Laurie
fan.
won
You're
MIP.
a fan of the team, right? So that
Yeah, I'm a fan of the team.
nobody's supposed to fault you for being a
Yeah,
fan, right?
yeah. But still, like if I think like today I learned that you can still be a fan of the team without buying every rookie that the team has. Um,
Obviously.
um, I okay, worst buy. Worst buy would be, I think, Kevin Porter Jr.
Oh,
Kevin
okay.
Porter Jr. Kevin Porter Jr. was my worst buy. Yeah,
Right.
I was buying loads of Kevin Porter Jr. Autos, short prints. I hit a gold jersey, rookie jersey auto of him, graded 9.5. He's on the
Right.
Bucks. He's still in the league, right? So thank God for that. But dude, that army
He's
man,
not
like
bad. He's not bad for
he's
Milwaukee,
not
right?
bad.
Yeah.
He's playing. At least he's playing. But that time, like when Harden got traded, they kind of like put him as like, oh, this guy's gonna be the replacement.
Yeah.
And then on the
Again, I say,
Cavs,
yeah. Again, I say, right. If you're not buying the surefire
yeah,
hits, right, you're
I
not gonna
agree.
make money in the long run. Even if
Yeah,
okay, Darius Garland, okay,
yeah,
amazing player for Cavaliers,
amazing, amazing
okay,
player.
but his cards are like peanuts, eh?
Yes, I agree. There's
Okay.
no value in his cards.
Yeah, so it doesn't show because you need to be surefire hits to
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
I
yeah,
talk about just strictly to make money lah. You wanna buy and
yeah,
sell, make money.
yeah,
Okay. Now
yeah.
you of course you want to collect, you can collect anybody, but you want to buy, sell, grade, make money. You gotta go with the surefire hits. The
Yeah,
Kevin Porter
true.
Juniors, the Darius Garlands, the Laurie Markkanens. Okay,
Yeah.
you're
Here's
not gonna
another
cut it.
player that I think you know, Darius Baisley.
Darius Baisley. Oh, that
Yeah,
one, that
see,
one.
all these
Yes.
players, man, buying cheap and yeah, I don't know,
But
man. Like
even
there was
even if
one
you
point.
even I can tell you one player is quite scary right now. Okay, that it's very expensive in my opinion. Okay, Jalen Williams.
Oh
Okay,
yes, I agree. I strongly agree.
okay,
He doesn't. Okay, to me, when I look at the OKC Thunder,
yeah.
I don't see Jalen Williams as a superstar.
Okay, to be fair, he is amazing. Okay,
He's a good player.
he,
He's a
he
good player, but not a superstar. Not in my eyes.
depends because he's on the same team as Shea. Because if Jalen Williams was the number one guy on his team,
Yeah.
okay, I can foresee he's almost be as good as Paulo. Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
On basically he's the number one man
First
lah.
option. He's the first option.
That's
Yeah,
the first option. Okay. You know, he of course there's a few things he need to tidy up lah, but
yeah,
he can be as good as Paulo. Okay, but because he's on OKC, right? So he has to play a particular kind of role
yeah,
behind Shea.
yeah,
Okay, so no doubt he's still excellent at what he
yeah,
does in the game. You can see him play, but his cards prices, right, seriously don't represent, what he actually brings to the court. It's the reverse of Darius Garland, right? Darius Garland is so important to Cleveland, okay,
yeah,
but his cards are like whatever.
yeah.
But you see Jalen Williams cards, right? His RPAs are still so expensive, eh?
I
Okay,
don't. I didn't. I stayed away from him, so I didn't know. But I didn't know that they were still so expensive. I thought they dropped because
they
the hype
did,
kind of died down
they
a bit.
did, but it's still relatively high for that kind of player. Okay, so sometimes when a hobby steers people towards a direction like towards Jalen Williams, okay, it can backfire anytime. Like I don't know when it's gonna backfire.
Yeah,
Okay, so for now OKC is winning.
yeah,
So as long OKC is winning, everybody says everybody is a good bet.
yeah.
Okay,
Right.
but if let's say for example next season something happen or whatever, okay,
Yeah,
that's when you see card prices gets adjusted really really hard lah.
yeah. I agree. I agree. Especially if they don't maintain that form.
Yeah. I mean, but OKC is good lah. I mean, they'll be good for years to come. Okay,
Yeah, it was
because they
solid,
kind of have
very
everything.
solid young core, very solid young core. And Chet is injured, so
Yeah.
it's interesting to see if Chet comes back, he becomes the number 2 option instead of Jalen Williams. It'll be very interesting then as well.
Yeah, but again, it's all around Shea. So without
Yeah,
Shea, I think the
yeah.
offense is a
No
bit.
Shea, no Thunder. That's the truth. Legit. No Shea, no Thunder. Yeah.
All right, man. Okay, before we sign off, so NBA season is coming to a close soon. Couple more weeks to go. So
Yeah.
fast, man. Season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crazy. Crazy. Yeah.
So, who is your favorite going into the playoffs?
Okay. Uh, as a fan, as a supporter, I like the Bucks.
The
As a fan,
Bucks.
again, because I support Giannis. I really I'm a big fan of Giannis.
Okay.
Um, but if you're gonna say like, uh, I wouldn't put Boston to win it. I don't know why. I maybe call me a hater or something. I don't put Boston to repeat.
Okay.
Uh but I feel like this year's playoffs are wide open. Like so many dark horses. Okay, Cleveland is on a roll. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
Cleveland is on a roll. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, they don't have the experience, right? They haven't made it that far yet, and their core is
Okay.
young." But they are playing really well, really
Yep.
really well. The Knicks are stacked. A healthy Knicks squad is stacked. You
Yep.
have Jalen Brunson, Mikal, Josh Hart, Carl Anthony Towns, and OG Anunoby in your starting
Yep.
five. It's crazy. It's a long lineup. It's a very tall lineup.
Yep.
Um, you have the Warriors, which are crazy after the Jimmy Butler trade. Kuminga just came back, so that's another dark horse as well. You can't count out Curry. As
Yep.
much as I hate the guy, you can't count out LeBron. He has Luka on his side. Luka has LeBron on his side. Dude, Lakers are the third seed right now. Like
Yeah, I believe so. That's right.
it's for me this year's playoffs. I don't see a clear favorite. Jokic is gonna be a one man machine, but Jokic without the team without Jokic is nothing. Again, like
Yep.
Thunder, right? The Thunder without Shea is really honestly quite hard to beat.
Right.
Um, other teams, but yeah, there's so many dark horses. I can't. If you are gonna ask me whether I have a clear favorite, I have a clear favorite because I support them. I like the Milwaukee Bucks. I want Giannis to win another ring. Uh, but just if I'm being just completely neutral to say, who am I going to support? I think I don't know. It's wide open. It really depends on who gets hot during the playoffs. If
Right.
Curry drains 6-7 threes each game, Jimmy Butler playoff Jimmy comes. It's a different story. It's so different. Like okay. I'll ask you something. Like it's a very simple question. A hot Curry and playoff Jimmy versus the Thunder. Who you picking?
I mean,
It's hard. No, I'm not saying that's a
I
clear answer, but it's hard,
okay.
right?
For me, right? Playoff. I personally don't believe in playoff Jimmy.
Okay,
Okay.
you don't believe
Playoff
it.
Jimmy actually works is because everybody else around him
Uh,
refuse to take the ball, or they just let him have the
Back
ball.
off. I mean,
Okay,
they,
or
they,
just
they
back off.
don't.
Just
They, yeah,
just let
they
him let
just
him do his thing.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, correct,
that's
correct, correct.
how playoff Jimmy appears.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, okay.
but you're not gonna have that in a team that has Stephen Curry, Draymond
Correct, correct,
Green.
correct,
Okay,
correct,
so
correct.
that
Yeah,
that's not gonna happen. Okay, now will there be games that Curry is gonna bomb 10 trees and things like that? For sure. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
but he's not gonna bomb 10 trees every single game.
Correct,
Okay,
correct, correct, correct.
but if you're talking about Thunder, right?
Yeah.
Will you see Shea scoring 30 to 35 every single playoff game? Yes. Okay. I,
Okay,
I, I think it's
I see
possible.
him scoring 30 to 35, but
Yep.
I don't see his team winning. Like, three in a row. What I'm trying to say is like, I'm not saying the Thunder won't beat the Golden State Warriors in a 7 game series. I'm not saying that.
Yep.
I'm just saying that, like, if I were to take, I think like the Warriors are like 7th seed right now. They're in the play-in versus the first seed. I think the Thunder are the first seed. First seed Thunder.
Right.
I don't see the Thunder as a major clear favorite for the 1 seed versus the 7th seed. The Thunder are still a favorite. Don't get me wrong, because their
Right.
team chemistry is amazing right through the roof, and Chet is not even back. But I'm saying like right now, if I were to go to the playoffs today, there's no heavy favorite. Sorry, not clear favorite, but there's no heavy favorite. Like
Right.
I think like the East, you probably give it to Boston because well, they're stacked. They have they are the champions. They're the reigning champions.
Yep.
Their record is also good. They have been stomping teams. Even like Derek White and Peyton Pritchard are killing people. But I still wouldn't give them like a huge advantage over a team like Giannis, or I wouldn't give them a huge advantage over a team like the Knicks. In a 7-game series, I think it will go like it wouldn't be like a 4-0, it wouldn't be like a 4-1 gentleman's sweep, but it might go 4-2, 4-3, and it might be an upset. Yeah, so that's what I'm just trying to say in opinion wise this year.
I mean that's a fair assessment now, right? But when I look at the playoffs, especially the last couple of years, right? Okay,
Yeah.
the team or teams that has done well in playoffs is they have to meet a couple of criteria. Number one is the superstar on that team needs to step up every single game.
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
correct.
that's the first thing.
Yeah.
And the supporting players around the superstar. Okay,
Yeah.
it could be 1 or 2 or 3 people, whoever it is. Okay,
Yeah.
someone in the supporting role have to step up every single game.
Correct.
Okay, so with a combination of these two only will result in playoff success.
Yeah,
So
correct.
that's the reason why that year when Denver won. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Denver had everything clicking for them. Jokic was obviously playing very well every single game.
Murray showed up.
Yeah, Murray showed up.
Porter Jr. showed up. Aaron Gordon showed up.
Aaron Gordon showed up against the Lakers.
Everybody showed up.
Correct. So that is one thing.
But else for the Heat, only Jimmy Butler showed up.
Correct. So therefore it's hard for a team to win if the rest of the team doesn't. Even look at last year, right? Dallas. Look at Dallas last year. Okay.
Yeah.
Luka played like hell. He played super well. Okay.
Yeah.
But the supporting cast were inconsistent.
Kyrie did not show up during the finals.
Yeah, were inconsistent, the supporting cast.
Yeah.
Whereas Boston, right, every game, right, they actually
Everybody was showing up.
consistent, just consistent. Okay, so a team like OKC, right, you ask me, right, Shea is gonna show up every single game.
Yeah,
okay?
correct.
The moment he doesn't show up, the team lose. That's given. Okay, but he's gonna show up every game. So the chances of his teammates or the supporting cast around OKC, one of them, whether it's Jalen Williams or whoever else on the team, right, to show up, I think has a high chance compared to a lot of the other teams in the league. That's why it allows them to win many games currently. So we'll see. I don't fancy OKC. I don't quite like the style that they play because a lot of the offense just runs through Shea. Okay, and there's too many free throws for my liking.
Yes.
There's too many free
He's
throws.
a little bit of prime Harden.
Yeah, I don't quite like the style. Okay, I like the way Cleveland play. Okay,
Yeah, Cleveland is playing amazing, dude. The teamwork is amazing. They swing. I mean, they have a superstar in Donovan Mitchell. Evan Mobley is a defensive threat.
Right.
Darius Garland is shifty, bro. Like,
and I don't even consider Donovan Mitchell to be like the Donovan Mitchell of Utah. Whereby
no, it's not.
they
He
get
doesn't need to be. He doesn't need to be.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
His team is so well rounded.
He's the one. Of course, I think maybe he's the best player on the team, but he doesn't need to be the man like how he was in Utah. So that's why they're good, lah.
Yeah.
But again, Cleveland is one funny team as well. You see, talk about cards, right? None of their players are actually
None of their players appreciated. None.
Right?
None.
Yeah. Even if you look at
players appreciated.
even you look at Evan Mobley, right? You try to want, you wish Evan Mobley's cards are doing well, but because he's a center or a power forward, nobody respects center.
Nobody respects that position.
So, and Donovan Mitchell's cards are not,
What they
besides
used to be.
his
Not what they
anti-RPA.
used to be. Yeah, they're not what they used to be. They used to be so much higher.
So that's why it tells you, right? This hobby is a bit messed up in a way, whereby
It is. It's actually purely built on showmanship and hype.
right. All right. Okay, man. Thanks for coming on this one. We should do this more often, man. But
Yeah, we will. I had fun as well.
coming back to where we started, on the PSA stuff, to me this is one of those things that happen, but for me, I stopped sending to PSA because I think the ROI is not there for me.
Yeah,
But
especially when you're
people
selling.
like you,
Yeah.
maybe still okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, man. So thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks, Sean, for coming back to the show. And do subscribe for this channel. And we'll see you guys again soon. See you, man.
See you next time. See ya.
Ciao.